It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I'm David Bosca, and this is, I think, the 105th or 104th, we'll come up with that a little bit later, episode of the Oklahoma Archery Podcast.
I'm Neil Cooley, and we've got Tom Stevenson in the house with us tonight.
Hey there. Wow. 100,
Hi, Tom.
100 episodes? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Had no idea you guys had done that many. So fantastic.
Well, good. Thank you. We appreciate it. Some of y'all may remember Tom's been on us one other time before, talking about his archery path, computer programs, some of his shooting in the past. But we originally tried to get Tom on a week ago, right after Lancaster. Tom won his class at Lancaster. Tom won Lancaster. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun. It was a fun day. Yes.
And unfortunately, Tom had turned right around and go to nationals. So we couldn't hook up. So we wanted to hook up now, better late than never. But Tom, tell us about Lancaster.
Oh, Lancaster is just amazing. It's up to about 2,500 archers now. I think eventually it's going to pass Vegas. I really do. It just keeps growing and growing like crazy. They keep adding different divisions. They keep adding college events and youth events. And it's in this amazing facility that's a $50 million facility that they go and hold a archery tournament for 2,500 people. And it's like it's over in the corner because they have indoor soccer and volleyball and basketball and all these other events and restaurants and food. So it's an incredible venue. I've heard other places around the country are trying to copy that venue or have like satellite smaller versions of it called Spooky Nook. It's just amazing. But the Lancaster Classic, it's a fantastic event. They treat it and run it like a small event, but it's huge. But they're super friendly. They play the national anthem at every line. They do it in a really nice way, and it's a big event. I just love it. And this year I shot really, really well. It's the best that I had shot all year when I went there. Shot a great score, and it's the new. They have a new Olympic Recurve Masters Division, so over 50-year-old division. It's the second year. So before that, I shot with the younger guys, and it was fun to try and make the cut and then shoot against those younger guys for 1 or 2 rounds. Never made it to the third round, but I'm trying to support them grow in the Masters Division for Olympic Recurve. And I was fortunate enough to shoot my best round of the year there, which was fantastic. So,
how did you end up down at nationals? I don't think I heard.
Well, for USA Archery Indoor Nationals, it goes for 6 weeks. It starts in mid-January and goes to the end of February. So it has 2 or 3 weeks left of it. I actually shot better than I did at Lancaster there. So it's the best indoor nationals I've had in probably 10 years. So I'm in the lead in my division, but there's 2 or 3 weeks left. So you never know how that's going to go. But I was fortunate enough to set a new national record last weekend. So it's
congratulations!
Good sign. So it was good. It was a really good weekend. It's held at Texas A&M and College Station is the one that we go to, but there's 14 of them around the country, and they have an amazing venue down there. Multiple kids from our team, the Oklahoma Storm Joad team, have gone down there and are on the team. So it was great to see Lydia Murphy from Tulsa. It was great to see Dylan Hurt from Oklahoma City here down there, and it's an amazing thing. They have 50 or 60 people on their college team at Texas A&M. It's a fantastic program. And they have their own building too. Yeah,
you was telling me about that one time. Yeah. Tell everyone about the building.
So back in the go-go oil days in like 2006, 2007, they raised something like $8 or $10 million from alumni, and they built their own archery building. It's the size of 4 basketball courts. They also do intramurals there. They also have classrooms there. It's unbelievable. They put 200, 250, 300 kids through archery PE classes every year in that building, every semester in that building. So they use that to help develop archers. That some of those kids will go onto the team as well. So it's just a fantastic way that they promote archery and have lots of kids come into it, and they build this great team. And as like I said, I think it's the best collegiate archery program in the country, personally. and it's fantastic building. I mean, it's just amazing. They'll put up maybe 30 round mats, so you can maybe have 120 or so archers on a line. So, and there's space. There's a couple feet between each target, so it's not crammed in. And behind the shooting line, you'll have another 20 or 30 yards. So they have lots of space. It's really well done.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love to see those images. I've never been to the facility. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And right behind that building, they have their own outdoor range. It's kind of tucked into a corner, but they can do 70 meters there. They have an outdoor building, and they can do 16 target mats. So they can do 8 men and women sets of elimination round matches and such. So it's really good. It's really good. So,
let's see, what was I forget what I was gonna ask. I had something going there.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're going to ask about Kathleen. So Kathleen is doing really well for that match too. She is currently leading her age division for USA Archery indoors too. Again, there's 2 or 3 more weeks. But we've always kept trying to win a nationals in the same year together, and we've never been able to do it. She's won multiple, I've won multiple, but we've never done it in the same year. So we're hoping maybe this year will be the year we can both win one at the same time. So it'd be fun to see.
And for those that don't stay up with the Olympic style recurve, Tom made the USA senior team this year. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I made it again this year. Yep. So that's a top 5 in master recurve. So that's all the 50 and over. So it's the 50 age, 60 age, and 70 age division all lumped into one. The top 5 at the end of the year rankings make the national team. I was 3rd this year, so it's fun to make that team. You get a shirt and a hat, which is fun. But then if they have any events, they have any world events, they use that ranking list to stage the team for events. So it's fantastic. It's great, amazing competition, some amazing, great shooters. And it's, one year they had 190 people that had shot in one of the national ranking events just for Masters recurve men. It was this gigantic division of people. It was more than, the regular senior men's divisions. It was amazing. It was the largest adult division they had. That was, I think, it was right before COVID, before all that craziness happened. So it's fun.
Well, we've gotten 7 minutes into this, and I have fell behind on my duties.
Okay.
I forgot to ask. Tell everyone what you're shooting.
Oh, what equipment I'm shooting?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so I'm actually shooting a Pecos riser, which a friend of mine, Michael Honacki from Texas, is trying to make a going with this new riser called the Pecos riser. It has a new advantage on it. The limb bolts will rotate up and down, so you can angle them flat to the limbs. And I've been trying to help him get that going. I've been shooting it now for 2 years. It shoots great. A number of people have tried it and have had a little bit of issues. I've had all kinds of success with it. I've had to change the grip. I've had to change the weights. I've had to monkey around with it, and it shoots amazing now. Obviously I'm shooting well, scoring wise too, but I'm trying to help him by promoting it to try and get it going. Not getting paid or anything for it, but just want him to be successful. It's a design from a guy named Hardy Ward, who was a previous world champion, and he was designing that bow when he passed away. And so Mike's taken it on to try and get it to market in honor of Hardy Ward. So we'll see if he can do that. But and it's I have win limbs, and I'm shooting Easton Aluminum 2018 big fat heavy arrows with big feathers, 210 grain points. So it's a 590 grain arrow. And out of a recurve bow, that's not very fast. It's 145 feet a second, but it has tremendous kinetic energy. It's really about the kinetic energy, even in a recurve bow. So it's fantastic. It groups fantastic. And it's great. So thanks for asking.
What you said it's about the kinetic energy.
Yes.
Is it to the kinetic energy so that the front of it is actually pulling it back where it needs to go? Or
no, it's just for any of the bows, and that's one of the things that I do with the archerypath platform that we have, is get into what we call performance analytics. You can look as deep as you want into the science of what makes bows and arrows work really, really well. And for recurve bows, if you have a heavier arrow, it will absorb more energy out of the bow. and then it becomes more kinetic energy. The arrow becomes more forgiving, groups better. Indoors at 18 meters, it doesn't really matter how heavy it is because you can reach 18 meters no matter what. You couldn't do that at 50 or 60, 70 meters with that. Outdoors, we use a light and skinny Easton X10 in the wind. It works amazing. But indoors, big and heavy. So at Lancaster, the last couple of years I've been watching to see the top 8 men. So 3 years ago, 7 of them were shooting big, heavy aluminum arrows, and 1 guy was shooting the next 10. Last year, all 8 top were shooting heavy aluminum arrows. This year, there was 7 shooting heavy aluminum arrows, and 1 guy from Italy, Spoli, was shooting next 10. But all the final 4 have all been big, heavy aluminum arrows. Brady Ellison shoots one that's over 600 grains, so it's even heavier than I am shooting. And it just indoors is forgiving. The weight helps the performance amazingly, and then on top of it, you get a bigger diameter for catch lines. But the weight's the most important thing.
Do you plan on shooting that riser and limbs combo outdoors?
I'm going to try it this year. Yeah. Last year I just shot it indoors, and then I shot my regular setup outdoors. I have a Hoyt GMX that I've been shooting for 5 or 6 years. That's really tuned in. So this year I'm going to try that new riser outdoors and see how I can make it work. So that'll take about a month to get it figured out. So hopefully we'll have some decent weather here so I can try it. So
go ahead.
On your new riser that you're trying out, you mentioned that the limb bolts go up and down to sort of align the limbs. Could you walk us through kind of what you're looking for tuning wise with that?
Sure. So it tunes the same way where you can crank the limbs on a recurve bow. You can crank the limb bolts in and out. It gets you about 10%. So I'm shooting a 40-pound bow. That's my draw weight at full draw. It's 40-pound bow. When I was younger, I was holding 49 or 50. Like a lot of these guys now in their 20s or early 30s even, they're up near 50 pounds to make that work. But I can't hold that weight anymore, so I'm about 40 pounds. But you can adjust those limb bolts in and out to crank the limb down, and you can affect it to 3 or 4 pounds. But usually with those limb bolts, when you do that, the limb will be an angle to the limb bolt. So the limb might be like this, and the limb bolt's here, so it's kind of on an angle. But this way you can tilt that limb bolt and make it flat. And when it makes it flat on the limb, it aims better. It settles down better. It just becomes a sweeter shooting bow. Best way I can describe it. So
it changes your brace height?
It doesn't change the brace height as much as the feel of the bow at full draw. It just settles better. It just really settles better.
To me,
the recurve bows jump a lot more than the compound bows. So it'll jump out. We typically use a finger sling, and it'll jump and hit the end of the sling. So you can tell how it's doing by, if you're shot, if it hit the end of the sling.
To me, it would make more of a solid contact being flat.
Yes, for sure.
Like a wider surface on that. So if you could even find a wider limb button to go underneath.
Interesting. They used to have a limb bolt, and the end of it would be on a swivel, and so it would alter its spot to fit the limb.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tested that and found that they didn't shoot as well as a solid limb bolt. I don't know why, but the solid limb bolt just grouped slightly better. So most of the top guys have gone back to a solid limb bolt that doesn't change that angle. But this one allows you to pivot the whole bolt so it can be flat. And I don't know. I think it's fantastic. So yeah. There's a little more weight on the right side of that riser, so I had to move my grip out to the left a little. I had to move weight further left, and after trying a bunch of those different combinations, I got it to the bow to jump really straight, and it shoots fantastic. So
adjusting on your V-bar setup.
Yes, weight on the V-bar. I've got 4 extra weights on the left side than on the right. So unlike a compound bow where you guys have one big arm on the left, we typically have V-bars. We'll have both sides, and they're typically the same. But with this bow, I had to put more on the left.
There's a lot of compounders that do shoot V-bars, and on their left side, they do have that because we bolt so much heavy stuff on the right side. Our sights are big. The scopes hang off that side. We got the lights that are over there. we got the rest, and everything is over on that side. And so you do have to put more on the left, even on V bars.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I just see you guys shooting with a ton of stack weights on the end and a ton of stack weights on typically on the left side with that extra rod sticking out. And it's kind of fun to see you guys play with it all and make it work. And it's fun to see that. So
I've tried V bars back and forth, and every time I do, I end up just putting 1 to 2 ounces on that side. And I'm like, well, that doesn't do really doesn't change much when it's going off. So I'm like, every time I try it, I go about 2 weeks. I end up taking it right back off.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Yeah. In my world, I open that door, and man, when I walk through that door, it's not good.
Okay.
So Tom, are you at the end of indoor season, or are there a few more indoor shoots to go before you transition outdoors?
Indoor season is over for us, with the exception of our H&H Indoor League that we help with. We're not going to NFAA Indoor Nationals this year. I will be going to Vegas this year, but only to do a booth. I'll be doing a booth again for archerypath. And that, so we'll be going to those, but we won't be competing in those. Kathleen might compete at Vegas. She's, I think, trying to think that through. But for us, it's switching over to outdoors. Our first event will be third week in April. It'll be Gator Cup for us, which is in Florida, maybe around April 20th. So hopefully we get some decent weather to shoot outside some, and then go straight into 95-degree heat in Florida. So that's the way that goes. But yeah, it'll be fun.
I can always tell when you guys have changed over to outdoors, because you'll still come shoot at the indoor range, but all your targets will be at the very top of the bale.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
sure.
50 meters, huh? Yeah. I guess 70 for the recurves.
The young guys shoot 70. The masters, so 15 over, we shoot 60 meters. So they give us a 10-meter break, which is nice of them. So yeah.
Okay. Why do you put your target way up there?
So when you're at full draw at 18 meters, you're pretty level. At 60, or much bigger angle. And so if you can put the target even high at 18 meters on the target, it gives you a better feel of slightly being leaned back, slightly more of an angle. Sometimes my wife Kathleen, she'll put a bag target on top of those block targets at H&H to try and get a better angle to shoot that.
I seen that, and I wondered what that was. Yeah.
It changes your draw length with using a clicker. It'll change your draw length about 1/16 of an inch, just being at a slightly different angle. It shouldn't, but it does, and you can feel it after you shoot enough arrows. So we'll have 2 clicker marks for where our clickers are for indoors and for outdoors. Yeah.
I have the opposite problem. I'll shoot only the bottom target during 3D season because I have not yet seen a 7-foot tall 3D rubber deer yet. So we're at the opposite end of the spectrum in some people's world.
Do you guys, I remember you talking about some place where there was something floating in the water and you were shooting at it in the 3D event. And if you miss, do the arrows float away? What do you do with that?
It's a pond, and by the time you get finished shooting, yours will be floated to the bank, and you can go pick them up.
Okay.
I'll have to take someone else's word. I have never missed.
Oh boy. Okay. There you go.
I've never missed an arrow, but I've had somebody call one out a time or two. That's on them though.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, right now we have got the Winter Olympics going on.
Yes.
And in Neil and I's world, maybe more Neil than me, I'm too old, but compounds have, now I know they're in, but it's called something else. It's
I looked it up for you guys. So if you don't mind me reading this here, so it's called the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games, and they just released this last week the qualification pathway. That's what they call it, pathway, for the Olympic Games. And they're going to have, so they have the same number of spots. There's 128 archers that can go to the Olympics, 64 men and 64 women. It's been that same number now for, 10 or 15 years. It's so hard to get additional spots. You just can't get any additional spots. They have somewhere around 10,000 athletes at the Summer Olympic Games, somewhere around 5,000 trainers and coaches. They have a specific number you can't go over for any reason. And for another sport to come in or for you to get additional spots, someone has to give up spots. like it was maybe 8 years ago, wrestling lost its place. There's about 200 nations in the world that are part of the IOC, International Olympic Committee. And the way they define it is you have to have a program that's competing at a world-class level in more than 100 countries to stay in the Olympics. So if 200 countries, you have to have more than half. If you have whatever sport it is, if you have a world-class level at more than half of them, so 100 countries, then you can stay in. Wrestling got put on probation, and they didn't bring it up in 4 years, and they said, see ya, you're out. So there's two type of wrestling. Now there's only one type of wrestling. So with archery, there's no way to add extra spots. So what they're doing for this year is of the 128 spots, they're going to have, it has previously been all Olympic recurve, and now you're going to have 12 men compound shooters and 12 women compound shooters. And they're doing it as mixed teams. So a one woman, one man team called a mixed team. They will shoot 50 meters at an 80 centimeter face, 72 arrow qualification rounds, and then they will go into elimination round matches. So this is exciting. Since the U.S. will be the host country in Los Angeles, we get to have a full team regardless. So no matter what you do, we're going to send a team. A team will be one compound man, one compound woman. So there'll be one U.S. man, one U.S. woman picked to be on that team. Those qualification rounds and things will be starting in 2027. They haven't announced it, but typically they started at Outdoor Nationals, which typically is August 2027. So anybody who wants to try out, I believe it's probably going to be open. They might have qualification scores first, but you guys, anybody out there that wants to try it, ought to maybe try and shoot some USA Archery Outdoors in 2026, getting ready for 2027. There is a minimum qualification score, and I wrote those down. So for men, compound men, the minimum score is 690 out of 720. For women, the minimum score is 670 out of 720. So that's 72 arrows on an 80 centimeter face at 50 meters. Yeah, and that's what that is. So the top compound people the last few years have been shooting over 700. Some shoot over 710. I've seen one shoot a 715. So they can, that's 715 out of 72 arrows. That's only having 5 9s and I guess 67 10s. And in the wind, that's amazing to see. But there'll be a bunch of people can try out, and they'll pick the best one. They can go. They also have the other spots. So there's 52 recurve spots for men and 52 for women. And they'll have individual competition. They'll have a 3-man team, a 3-woman team competition. They also have a mixed team competition. So they have 1 man, 1 woman. That's the medal that Brady Ellison and Casey Caulfield won in Paris 4 years ago as well. But I wanted to, if you have time, I wanted to walk you through the crazy.
Go right ahead. Absolutely.
They have here. So the issues are for all the countries around the world, you might have 180 countries trying to put spots on the archery team, and there'll only be 11 countries that get to qualify a man and a woman. So they'll go out to, let's see, I got this down here. There's certain places at the World Championship. There's certain places for what they call continental championships. So the top 3 teams at the World Championships in 2027 will get to go to the Olympics for compound. Then they have championships they call continental championships. Europe, Asia, and the Americans will have championships. So I'll have North, Central, and South America will get together, and all those teams will shoot, and the winner of those teams will get to go to the Olympics. They'll also have one final qualifying tournament, which is typically in Berlin about 2 months before the Olympics, and the top winner team there will get to go. And again, as the host nation, the U.S. is going to automatically field a team, which is great because in 2024, we had sent a women's team for recurve, but the men's team didn't qualify, so they didn't even get to go. Brady got to go individually because he and Casey won the mixed teams at the events that they were at. So there are also going to be 3 highest individual ranked places from the World Championship events, 5 places from the Continental Games in Europe, Africa, Americas, Oceania, and Asia. That's the 5 regions that they use around the country. 6 places for top 2 athletes in the Continental Games in Europe, Asia, and America. 10 places for the athletes' standalone qualification at the individual spots in Europe, 2 in Asia, Americas, Africa, and 1 in Oceania. 2 places for top athletes in final qualification tournament, which will be Berlin. And then they have something called universality invitations. So they have 4 spots that they're saving to make sure that all of the regions of the world get representative. So in other words, you might have a whole bunch of people from Asia and a whole bunch of people from Europe, but they'll want to see somebody there if a South American country didn't qualify, or if a country in Africa didn't qualify, or one in Asia, or one of them called the Oceania Islands area. So they try and make sure that every sport has someone from different parts of the world to try and, so they've got, so out of the 128 spots, they have 4 that they will make sure represents everywhere. So the Olympic Committee is all about making all that work. So that's really, really interesting. And otherwise, I think I explained where that's coming from. So since we're the host country, we know we're going to have a team. Next round, 2032, if this goes well, they're going to try and either make it permanent, or they will try and add places for it, or whatever. It's interesting that they just took 12 men and 12 women of the existing spots. So it'd have to go really, really well to get extra spots. We'll have to see how they try and make that all work and how they figure it out going forward. But it's great that there's a compound division, and it's great that we know we'll be sending a team since the host country. So everybody ought to try out and try and do it for the U.S.
And U.S. hasn't decided how they're going to find that single person yet, have they?
They have not. That's
Okay.
supposed to be announced a year and a half ahead of the trials. And since that trials are typically in August or September of 2027, they should be announcing it here in March of 2026. So somewhere in the next month, they'll announce that. And if you want me to come, when they announce that, if you want me to come back on and talk about it, I'm happy to do it. For the recurve side, what they typically do is they have 4 outdoor national ranking events, and then they will have an Olympic trials event. And last year they had 8 stages of Olympic trials. So they went from, at outdoor nationals, they picked the top 16 people, and then they had 2 stages of 4 different events, and they went 16 to 8. And then they went into the spring, and they had 2 more stages, and they went 8 down to 4, and they went 4 down to 3. So I'm assuming they'll do something similar on the compound side, but you don't know exactly what they'll do, because realistically, I mean, there could be thousands of compound shooters that want to try out to say, I tried out for the Olympics, right? I mean, I expect that. So they might do, you have to post a qualification score in the summer of 2027 to be able to go into the Olympic trials. Or they might just go to outdoor nationals and say, top 8 people continue, or the top 16 continue. And then we'll have a bunch of elimination shoot-offs. Since it's only going for 1 spot instead of 3, they'll leave it all on the field. If you go shoot the best, you'll get selected. It won't be any subjectivity. There won't be any Russian judges or East German judges over there giving 6.5s or something. It's all on the field and scoring. It's typically a really brutal set of competitions, but they'll pick someone that's really good. And that's what we've seen. That's what I expect.
For the qualifying stages, you talked about there being multiple events. Do they take a cumulative score for those archers that have to go to multiple qualifying, or is it a standalone 1-round score?
That's a great question, Neil. What they've done before, they've assigned ranking points from each event, and all the ranking points add up. So at a typical event, you'd shoot a 72 arrow qualification round, and they would put assigned ranking points in there. In other words, if you finished in first place, you get 1 set, second place, third, fourth, whatever. So you get a placement points. They would also do an average arrow value ranking. So you'd have rankings a couple places. Then they would go into an elimination round brackets. And at those events, they typically would do round robins. So in other words, if they got down to 16 people, you'd have 15 matches. You'd shoot an individual match against every one of your 15 competitors. And since those matches on the compound side, they're 15 arrow matches, they would do that over 2 days. So you'd have whatever 15 times 15 is 225 arrows over 2 days in elimination rounds. It's a lot of shooting. It's a lot of shooting in the wind. And then you would get points for wins and losses, and you get points for an average arrow value. So they have a big convoluted ranking system where each session, each trial event, you have different ranking points. The timing for the shooting is 20 seconds per arrow. So it's a little bit quicker. So instead of if you go to Vegas or any of the other events, you get 2 minutes for 3 arrows. Internationally, it's 1.5 minutes. And that's probably going to be testy for some of the compound shooters because it's a little bit longer hold than the recurve archers. So what they'll do is one of those events will be a timed round. You'll stand there and they'll blow the whistle, and you got 20 seconds to stand up to the line, load an arrow, pull back and shoot, and then they'll blow the whistle and you come off, and then you get back on, and they'll do that for a 36 arrow round. Stand up, stand off, stand up, stand off for 36 different arrows. It's interesting to see how that changes everybody's focus, how that changes how that goes. I would expect something like that. They also, I'm sure, will probably do something to try and simulate a team round format, since in a team round on a mixed team, they'll shoot 4 arrows total. So the man will shoot 2, the women will shoot 2. You can figure out whatever order you want. You can have one of them go up first and shoot 2 shots. I've seen one of them, one person goes up, they come off, the next person goes up and shoots 2, the last person goes up and shoots their last one. So you can figure out what that is, but you'll have 4 times 20. So you'll have 80 seconds to shoot 4 arrows in that format. And you've got to figure it out. And the way they do it is they have a shooting line, and then they have a 1 meter line behind that. And you have to be behind the 1 meter line until the other person crosses it. And then you can step up, and you can't pull your arrow out until you're on the shooting line, and you can load it and shoot. So the timing during the team rounds is a lot more difficult. It's a lot faster. It makes it more exciting, but if anybody lets down, it becomes chaotic because it's hard.
Okay. Yeah. Back with the different qualifications bouncing around the world, yes, trying to get from the different continent to continent. Yes. Let's say teams go to different ones and have already qualified instead of the top 3. Will it go to the 4th one if yes, one of the top 3 have already made it?
Yeah. Any of the nations have already qualified a team. They won't eliminate someone that hasn't qualified yet. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could be 5th place in that particular, but if 3 up there have already done it, you still got your qualification.
You sure can. Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes. So it's interesting because when the U.S. in 2024 for Paris were trying to qualify that, they kept getting knocked out by some of the teams that had already qualified in those events where they were trying to get improved status. But the final event won't have any of those teams. So the final event that they had in Berlin, the last 2 times they did this, didn't have any of those teams already qualified. But some of the other events still have them. So it depends on which event is there and which is there. So
it's quite complex, really is.
It's amazing. It typically takes the NGB body about 1.5 years to produce the plan to select a team. It take about 1 year to put it together. The U.S. OPC, U.S. Olympic Paralympic Committee, will take about 6 months to review it. They'll come back with questions and they'll challenge them on things. They'll make them update things. So they want it to be fair, but they also want it to pick a great team. And there's all kinds of rules they have to follow. So it's really difficult. USA Archery has a lot of staff members to deal with things just like that, just coming up with selection procedures, dealing with high performance plans, because the Olympic Committee has some money that each sport gets. But for that, you have to turn in all kinds of performance reviews, high performance plans. So, for example, in 2024, when we didn't send a men's team, recurve team, the funding got cut for a certain portion of those performances. So they lost money and they had to readdress, and I'm guessing probably lost some staff that they couldn't afford to have anymore. So it's real results from that. But that's how they run it. So,
I was listening yesterday driving to league. the Easton podcast, and they had a unique scenario. George and the Big Cat was talking. Has either one of y'all listened to that?
I haven't heard it. No, I haven't.
This is the way that they were looking. They were talking about the Winter Olympics going on right now, and how there is so few people in that compared to summer.
Yes.
They said there's like 3,000 contestants versus the other. They're having difficulties finding cities that can host Winter Olympics all the time. So they're going to go to 4 or 5 set cities and throw in every now and then a city that's not, like Salt Lake City, Utah is going to be a set city in rotation.
Wow.
But what they're looking at is the reason other ones aren't getting is it's not profitable because there's not that many people coming. Takes all this money to build it and no one shows up.
Yep.
So the IOC has, their details for the winter. It has to be done on ice or snow. Okay. They said that they understand. Let me preface that. They understand that they are talking about a lot of ifs and or buts. They understand that they are talking about maybe amending that and allowing indoor sports for winter time to go indoors. That would relieve the 20,000 on this summer and switch it to winter, like table tennis, like indoor archery. So they were hypothetically saying that there's opportunities for 2032 if they switched, that other things could go more full-time, and that other sports might switch and go indoors because of it.
That would be fantastic for archery. You can imagine that because at the South Point for Vegas, they have 12,000 people in the stands watching the finals for archery, and the Olympics they could have 50,000 maybe.
Have a full boat on both at each Olympic. Then every 2 years, archery gets a shot in the arm.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I hadn't heard that. That's fantastic. So if it's 3,000 people for the Winter Olympics, like I said, for the Summer Olympics, it's 10,000 athletes and 5,000 judges and trainers. So they have 15,000 people show up. They typically won't even look at a city unless it's got 3 million people. And a lot of them now have ended up being coastal cities, and they'll bring in cruise ships to try and have enough rooms for the athletes and judges and trainers to have put them in, because they want to have all those hotel rooms for people to come. So it becomes a logistical nightmare just to try and house everyone and deal with it. So, yeah. So I heard for the Paris games in 2028, they're going to be located, the venue is going to be north of LA, and they're going to be in the pro soccer stadium there that they have for the finals. So they're in a park, and the big fields for qualifications will be outdoors, but the finals venue is going to be in their pro soccer stadium. That's in
that'd be awesome, weather-wise, especially.
Yeah, and I don't know the name of that team, but that would be a great venue to look. Yes.
Yeah. Like Galaxy? Maybe.
It must be. Yeah, it could be. I didn't know.
I'm not up on my soccer, but somebody.
I was gonna say, Neil, come on, dude. You just threw it down so good.
Nice. I don't know. It was so amazing. In Paris, they had that venue with that big, building right behind the venue. It was so iconic, and you could see the Eiffel Tower over here, and it was amazing. So it's going to be hard to follow any of those Paris sightings for some of the things. So it's great that there just won't be archers out in the field shooting. Have the finals in a stadium will be fantastic to see.
Yeah. Maybe cut down on some of the wind drift.
Yeah, they say in the stadiums the wind always swirls. So they really say it always swirls. So, some of the teams will have someone who just sits in the stadium with binoculars and tracks the arrows. So the archers will be sighted in on the practice side, and then they'll come over and shoot their first shot in the stadium, and they'll track where this all go, and they'll have a map of it, and they'll say, oh, you're typically going to be 6 inches right and 4 inches low or something as people come over. So they'll actually have that down for their first shot, because they don't get any practice in that stadium venue. It'll just be, hey, you're up. First shot scored. Let's go. And it's
so according to where you at on the line, going down the line, this one is an inch. This one's 2 inches. Further down, it might switch and start going the other way an inch.
Yes. It typically swirls and it's different. and they'll practice for days on the practice field, and then their time will be up, because those events, they'll typically last 6 or 7 days. There'll be a day for qualification for women, a day for qualification for men, and they go into all of these brackets. 64 bracket for men, a 64 bracket for women. Now they'll have brackets on the compound side. Then they'll have men's team, women's team, mixed teams. So it's 5 or 6 days of that. And if you don't shoot for 4 more days, and then you can practice on the field, and then you go in the stadium and it's swirling, you got 12 arrows, you got to adjust quick. So
yeah.
Cool. High leverage.
Yes, for sure.
Leverage situation.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. There's a fun video when Brady Ellison and Casey Koffel were shooting the bronze medal match. You'll see Brady shot first, and he comes back off the line, and Casey turns around and talks to him, and he holds his hand up, and he goes, right there. So he was showing her where he was aiming for the last end. So they got to communicate. They got to find a way to do that. And there'll be spotters, and they'll have monitors. You can see the target, but it helps to communicate fantastically. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can see it now. Neil would be telling me I was aiming there.
Yeah.
I'm just happy if I can aim on any given day without jumping on that trigger.
Fantastic. Cool.
Well, Tom, that is great information. I love listening to it. Yeah. It brings in archery more than just going to a local club. It shows you how wide it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have, like I said, there's 200 countries around the world that have world level, and for archery, it's like 190 something countries compete at a world level. It's crazy when you see that there's more than, if I get this right, there's more than 50 countries in Europe that'll have archery teams, and there's more than 45 in Asia. So it's about half of them are in those 2 areas, and then there's another 90 or 100 around the rest of the world. And Europe and Asia, both, they get together and vote together as a block. So when there's trying to pass different things within the archery area, they'll get together and say, how do we want to vote? Okay, we can have power by having 50 countries each with 1 vote each to try and have it be a certain way. So it's interesting to see how all that works. And then they put a team together and try and come out and get to the games. And again, the hardest thing is to get there. So the great thing about being the host country in the U.S. is we know we're going to field a full team. So you don't have to, like last time for Paris, the men's team, those guys trained for 4 years, and you picked the top 3, and 2 of them didn't get to go, which is like, and so they made the Olympic team, but they didn't qualify to go, so they're not Olympians, so they don't get to recognize themselves as Olympians, even though they made the top 3 for the team, because the U.S. didn't qualify for it. So it can be brutal. So it's great that we'll have a full team. So there'll be 1 man and woman compound shooter that's going, and so we'll have to see. So what are the bets? Who would people be betting on right now for outdoor shooter for something like that? Who would be the top guys and women?
For United States, you can't leave out Stefan Hansen, since he's now has the U.S. citizenship. You just cannot leave him out.
Jimmy Lutz,
absolutely, Jimmy Lutz. I think the young kid, the redheaded kid, he's been on there a lot. I think
Sawyer Sullivan.
Thank you. And let's be real, you have to count in the Bodie Turner, the guy that just won Lancaster.
Kyle Douglas.
I mean, and also you can go so deep, so far. Yeah.
It's hard. It's definitely hard.
Is it Paige Pierce on the women's side? Probably.
I would say if she gets into it hard in the next year and a half, I think she could pick it back up where she left off real fast and real quick.
Yeah. I think she was pretty dead set on shooting the ASAs over some of the USA archery stuff, but it's going to be interesting to see how they schedule all the qualifications, because those pros are, they're going somewhere pretty much every weekend. And it's like, well, I might have to leave some money on the table to be able to go chase that.
That's going to be
how big is that dream?
And that's a different dynamic, right? A whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
So they'll be good if they schedule those around the big 3D tournaments, right?
Yeah. I think they've got to make decisions for life. I mean, if they can go, number one, then they can say, I'm an Olympian. If they win a medal, okay, let's be real. Now, when they're 45 years old and they're trying to do something in archery other than shooting, that's credentials that most compounders won't have.
Yep, for sure.
I mean,
especially being the first one.
Yeah, absolutely.
First medalist.
Yeah.
Look at Brady. He has to think, what am I doing after archery? Brady being Brady here in the United States, probably around the world, he can do seminars, he can coach, he can bring in some dollars, but will he make a living? Yeah, probably so, but how much, how well? But if you were the fourth one on that team that never got called up, you better have an engineering degree somewhere.
There you go.
This might be blasphemy. So Tom, cover your ears. But
okay,
how do we know Brady's not going to qualify with compound? Because he went and shot one at indoor nationals 2, maybe 3 years ago and made the shoot off, didn't he?
No, I wouldn't put anything past him. I wouldn't.
I mean, it's not unheard of. He's got the experience at that level.
Yeah.
So
I know that one year.
It's those guys and gals that can control that 6 inches right here.
Yeah.
And those that have already been there in the recurve have half a step leg up and a year and a half to get their equipment dialed.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, interesting.
Fun note for everyone. It is going to be USA or world archery style. So under 60 pounds, under 23 diameter shafts, and no electronic lights for all of you ready to go build your bow at home for next year.
Yeah, and most of them are shooting little skinny, heavy carbon arrows for that wind. 50 meters.
Well, you know a thing or two about one of those arrows, don't you, Tom?
Yeah, some of them, yes, absolutely. So,
you were a consultant on the development team that created the X10, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. There was 2 of us, me and George Tekmachoff, and we worked on that for 4 years. And X10 was released in 1995. And it won in 1996, and it's won the gold medal every year since then. So it's been a good arrow. Yep.
Yeah.
What is it about the makeup of that arrow that makes it such a go-to for outdoor shooting, recurve and compound?
The weight is really, really good. It's small and tiny. I think it's got the best point ever made. There's a 120 grain break-off tungsten point that it's not that long. It's all internal and it's shorter. It works really, really well. But it's a really good arrow. It's performed really, really well over a long time, and it's been there for 30 years now. So maybe, I don't know, until somebody comes up with something better. We'll see how that works.
Yeah,
it comes in
some of the stories you talked about when you went and borrowed some shooting equipment or a machine, and it was.
Yeah, we tested. So the owner, if I get this right, the owner-founder of Merrill Norman Cosmetics is a guy. He's passed away now, but he had 2 hobbies. He loved to shoot archery, and he had an antique car collection that was more than 100 cars. It was unbelievable. This guy was worth billions. So he had all these mechanics that would work on his cars and work on his bows. And I shot with him at Vegas one year. He flew over from California in a private jet and shot his round and flew home and came back the next day and shot again. He was a fantastic guy. He was in his 80s then, but he developed a shooting machine that cost him $40,000. And this was 30 years ago. It was unbelievable. But he let Easton get that and make a copy of it. And then we got to play with it for a whole summer testing in Salt Lake City, shooting every different make, model bow, every different type of arrow at every distance to do everything we wanted to do. It was amazing because you could pretty much get any recurve bow to shoot a group like this at, say, 60 yards with a shooting machine. But when you put a person on it and add the individual stuff, the groups could go all over the place. So part of it was handling the variability of each archer. So each bow was amazing at a machine. So one of the things you see posted now and then is there's someone out there that advertises tuning your bow with a shooting machine, and they offer a thing. Oh, come down here and we'll put your bow on our shooting machine and tune it for you. Well, that's not going to do anything if each archer has a different form and different way that they shoot.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to work well. But the shooting machines are amazing for testing. Amazing for testing. So, yeah. So I got to play with one for a whole summer. Yeah.
Do you remember how much X10s were when they first entered the market for a dozen?
I don't. They're over $500 a dozen now. I don't know what they were when they came out. Probably 3 something, maybe.
I would think so, because I think I was spending like 120, 130 for ACCs back then.
Wow. ACC was a good arrow.
Yeah.
It was a good arrow. I designed 4 of those sizes. So it was a good arrow. Now they don't make them anymore. It's like,
I know.
Yeah.
Why,
I still got some.
Why did the ACCs have a different designation on their spine? It was a single digit and a dash, as opposed to
there was
a 500.
like a 3-28. There was a 3-39, a 360, a 3-70. So they did them for inside diameters, so you could have a point that would work with several of those. And the 3 was how many wraps of carbon. So a 3-28 had 3 wraps of carbon on it, and so it didn't go by spine. It went more by the point component and how many wraps of carbon on it. So they were great for 3D. They weren't too light. They were nice and heavy as well. I don't know. Did you ever shoot any of those, Neil?
Yeah, I was to say, I'm looking over here. Hang on, I might have one.
Some? Yeah, fantastic.
You know, I loved shooting them. The downside was here in Oklahoma, when we would go out and shoot a few of the targets back then, that aluminum core, we bent them. We get our big gorilla hands on them and not realize what we have. And
what is that?
There you go.
That's a 3-28.
Okay.
500.
Fantastic.
I think these came from Jennifer Gilly about 20 years ago. But yep, still got them. Little tiny veins on there.
There you go.
339s and 349s.
Yep.
Okay.
Fantastic arrow.
It is
still got about a dozen of them. But
328, that was a 500 spined arrow. So that was made to be exactly the same as a 2114 aluminum arrow, which was the same as a 470 ACE, which is the same as a 450 X10.
Dude, he's still pulling this out of the air, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, he spent too much time doing that. It's just there,
Yeah.
But, I think when I was shooting Olympic Recurve, I think I went from these they were basically a starter arrow that we'd gotten used from some friends. And I think I moved into a set of ACEs after that.
Yep.
I wanted the X10s, but couldn't get Dad to spring for them.
ACE is a good arrow, really good arrow.
13 years old.
Yeah, a lot of kids still shoot the ACEs. They're really, really good. The X10s are a little better in terms of the weight and the smaller diameter, but some coming up, a lot of kids don't want to go straight to an X10, which totally makes sense. The AC is a good intermediate one. So
let's be honest, if you're going to compete, you need more than 1 dozen. You need at least 2, right?
2 dozen?
Yeah.
If you're going to go to nationals, yes. Yeah. And if you're going to have 1 bear shaft, a dozen only gives you 11. If 1 target falls over in the wind, you don't have enough arrows left to shoot, right? So we've all seen that type of thing happen. So it's better.
So I get to go home.
There you go. There you go. So cool.
I say it's been the most winning shaft of all time, the Easton X10.
Yep, I think so.
Cool name too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. They let you work on the name as well, or just the internal component?
I don't know. Some marketing guy came up with that. I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Well, you both did fantastic on it, because they haven't come out with anything better in 30 years.
Yep.
Well, it's still winning.
Well, Tom, I think we've covered everything I wanted to. Neil, how about you?
No, I was going to say, when are we going to get Tom out here to shoot some 3D with us?
I would love to do that. So, when is the next local one?
This weekend at Trosper.
Oh, I'm not ready for that.
I say I've been the state director 3 years, and I think they've had the Olympic Recurve Division for maybe 3 to 4, possibly 5 years. I've never had a card turned in at any of our Oklahoma events in the Olympic Recurve Division.
Well, I would pull my hunting bow out of the storage room. As I have a compound hunting bow. I would shoot that instead of my recurve. Recurve is too hard on 3D. It's just it's too hard. But maybe one of these. You'll have to let me know what that schedule is, Neil.
Every weekend from here to August.
Wow.
6.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
they do.
It's
doubling up on some weekends, Tom. They got
Yeah.
them in different parts of the state. Yeah.
Well, we did it this year to where if you drive all the way out east, both the ranges are out east for that weekend. So we'll do one morning and one afternoon and then drive home. So it's like a lot of Texas does it different. They do one north and one south, or one east and west, and they might be 10 hours apart. They're not overlapping at all. But Oklahoma is just not that big. So if we got that many events, let's drive once and shoot twice. Because it's hard to drive 3 hours, shoot 20 arrows, and drive 3 hours home. It's just it's not enough shooting. I like that. I like some of the NFAA and the USA Archery events. Like, you can go to Trosper for the 720 round. 6 practice arrows times 2 is 12, 72. You get 84 arrows in a 10-minute drive. That's a good shoot to drive ratio. 3D is brutal. We're all getting ready to go next weekend to Foley, drive 11 hours to shoot 40 arrows and drive 11 hours back. Like, that's just, I like to shoot more than I like to drive. So
how old are you? How old are you now, Neil?
35.
Okay, so that's a young man's game. 35. I can remember we used to drive 11 hours and shoot and drive 11 hours back. So now
I don't drive. I just sleep on the way. I get in the back seat and grab a pillow and half a blanket, and I'm asleep before we hit the highway.
There you go.
Dave knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you were sicker than a dog when we was coming back from that shoot.
Yeah, I don't know what I picked up. Must have been bad Mexican food in South Dakota.
Oh boy.
Well, Tom, tell everyone where to go look up your archery path and how they can find you on the socials.
Oh, okay. So archerypath.com, it's a whole website, an online system. It has all kinds of databases for everything out there. Now, we're not doing compound bows yet, but we were doing Olympic recurve and recurve barebow, and you can put in and build your whole entire setup there, and then you can dynamically see what the tune is doing for it. And it's more than just finding the right spine. It's finding the right weight so the arrow will cycle the right way and will perform best. It gives you all kinds of performance analytic data. If you're sciencey, you like all kinds of that stuff. It'll predict the feet per second. It'll give you energies. It'll give you all kinds of that stuff that we have found through working with more than 500 archers over the last 10 years and doing seminars around the country. All those things really matter in terms of optimizing a tune. It's more than just the spine. You got to get the right weight so it can cycle the right way. Anyway, so that's archerypath.com. There's all kinds of information on that out there. And we've got, all kinds of other things out there as well. So that's the best place to look.
Is there still the 1 month first month free trial on the Archery
Path? You can do everything on it for a whole month for free. And then after that, it starts at $7 a month subscription. Every time we run something, there's a charge, so we got to charge something to make it work. And got a developer that we're keeping busy, so I got to charge something to make it work. It's good. We've worked with a whole bunch of top shooters now. We're working with more and more really top archers, and all the kids that we've had on our Oklahoma Storm Joad team, we've done this with as well. We've had unbelievable success with many of them. We're also working with. We have 3 young ladies on college teams. Or 2 on college teams, 1 in middle school that we're working remotely with as well. So it's you can do more and more stuff remotely with video. So it's fantastic to see that as well. And a lot of it comes back to tuning, because if it's not forgiving and tuned well, you just can't. You're spending thousands and thousands of hours shooting, and your tune isn't good. It really shows. So it's worth some time.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all I've got.
Cool.
Tom, you're welcome to stick around. I'm always going to ask Neil about some of the 3D stuff this weekend.
Okay. I'm going to let you guys go. Whenever they come out with the Olympic trials procedures, if you want me to come back on, I'll talk about that too. So just let me know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Tom, thanks for coming on, and congratulations.
Good to see you guys. I'll see you next Tuesday for league.
Okay.
Bye,
Tom.
All right, Neil, what's going on this weekend?
We are going to be at Trosper Archery Club Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. shotgun start for 20 targets of fun in the sun. Minus Saturday's got a little chance of rain, but we shoot rain or shine until there's lightning. We will pull you off the range if there's lightning in the vicinity for safety concerns, but we should have Heath Franz coming out with Big Daddy's Burger Shack. He's going to be cooking for you, and we're going to be doing the team shoot just like every weekend, giving a target away. That was a lot of fun. It was kind of slow paced because I couldn't get over there to get it going quick enough. So I appreciate everybody being patient and sticking around for that. It was a great event. The money goes directly towards funding our Shooter of the Year buckles and our state championship buckles. So that's a pretty hefty bill every year. So y'all stick around for the team shoot. The biggest thing for it is if you sign up before your round, you can warm up on those 5 3D targets. So if you don't want to sight in on the bags or you want to check your marks, we will have 5 targets out there for you to shoot before your round. And I think that's been the biggest advantage for it this year. But our winner of our first target giveaway was Marcus Sukup. He was one of our Saturday winners. He and Isaiah teamed up and shot from the 50-yard stake. So he was the closest to center that day. And then the next day we had 2 guys from Hunter 45 actually run the gamut, and they were our winning team Sunday. So their arrows were just not quite as close to center as Marcus's. And everybody's been asking the question, what is the what about the different distances for classes? We're going to use your max distance for whatever your class is. So for example, our Saturday winners were 50-yard, they were K50 shooters, and the farthest shot we could get in the place was 47 yards. So it was max distance minus 3 yards. The next day, our 2 competitors were Hunter 45 competitors, so they shot from 42 yards. And the reason we do that is because we love it when the kids stick around, and if they're a 25 or a 30-yard max, we don't want them to have to be disadvantaged. So if it's a, if bare bow is your 30-yard max, you would have shot that target for 27 yards or whatever. So it's whatever your max distance is, if we can get it. Based on your class. But it was a great turnout. Big shout out to Ryan and all the OSA, Oklahoma Shooting Academy guys. It's Ryan Thomason with the bowshack.com. I think he's just launched his website. But man, they knocked it out of the park. We had 82 official rounds on Saturday and some fun rounds, and 50 official on Sunday with even more fun rounds. So we had people drive back down twice. Brandon Burke and Kinsey and Lee Roberts, they drove it, both days to shoot that range. Had a little bit of wind Saturday, and Sunday was just perfect. Low 70s for a temperature. You could smell the onion burgers wafting through the range. So appreciate everybody staying and eating with Heath. He sold out of burgers and buns both days. Kept everybody busy. And if you go eat lunch with Heath, you're going to get a coupon to either shoot the Genesis Challenge. That's your 3 arrows at 10 yards for raffle tickets. Or if you don't want to shoot the Genesis Challenge, you're going to get a free Team Shoot Mulligan coupon. So we collected quite a bit of those on Saturday and Sunday. It's $5 or $10 value with every plate of food. So, big shout out to Heath for coming down and supporting us and keeping everybody fed. I know he'll be there on Sunday because we're going to expect a big crowd. Saturday, we're not sure, depending on the weather, what the numbers are going to look like. But if you show up Saturday, we'll get you on and off the range through the rain showers, if at all possible. And if you show up Sunday, we are expecting a very big crowd. So do everything you can to be patient with us. If we put 6 on a stake, we max out at 120. Trosper had 153 at their first qualifier last year. So I know the organization has grown since then. So do everything you can, be patient, be kind to our hosts. They're going out and, giving up their weekend to put on an archery tournament for you. So, be sure and thank them and be gracious guests, and hope to come out and see you.
Cool.
It's gonna be fun. They start their league right after that. So if you're sticking around afterwards, you'll see some fun shooters and stuff show up, and try to recruit them to come shoot the ASA. And then after that, we're headed to Foley, Alabama Wednesday.
Yeah, we need to get Heath to get us his logo so we can get it up there on the corner whenever we talk about him.
Yeah, he did good. He was tickled at being sold out. It's hard on a business owner to drive 2.5 hours away to an event where you don't know if it's going to be 20 people eat with you or 100 people eat with you. Yeah. So highly encourage, if you guys see food vendors, he didn't bring the whole truck down. He went out and bought a griddle just to do these events and set it up on had him a big 10 by 10 square and some tables out there. So he's trying everything he can to be there to support us. So highly encourage everybody to support him. It's great food. He told us if we get sick of burgers, let him know and he'll change up the menu. He'd do Coney dogs, he'll do chili, he'll do anything you want. You guys just got to keep coming back and let him know. And, don't go to McDonald's on the way home. You don't need none of that. That's not real food. You need you a Big Daddy's onion burger.
I'll text him here in a little bit and say, send me a logo, and that way I can get a background to it to where we can see it, and we'll get it up there to where when we're talking about the shoots, we'll throw him on there.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all this weekend. Get there early. And another note, I know we talked about this in the last podcast. The registration table has a line, and it is not fast moving. This form is a pain to fill out. You got to write your name and your address and everything else on it. Go on to asaoklahoma.com, click on 2026 scores, and right on the top is a link that says 2026 entry form. Please print that out at home and make copies for yourself. And Dwayne and Dodie showed up with theirs, and they get to skip the line, slap it down on the table, take your unofficial card, and you're on the practice range warming up. So it could save you 10 to 20 minutes every single weekend if y'all will go do that. It's also pinned to the top of the Facebook page, Oklahoma ASA Federation. It's in the feature. Just click on the featured tab. It's got all the important announcements and schedules and buckle designs, all that stuff. You will see the entry form and print that out, fill it out, and make copies of it. And you'll save yourself a whole bunch of time and headache, and you'll save the organization money from having to print a whole bunch of them. So do me and you both a favor. And I just want to tell everybody I appreciate it. We had 130 to 132 show up this weekend. I think that's the second or third biggest qualifier we've ever had. And I appreciate every single one of you coming out. I hope it was great. I know Ryan enjoyed having everybody. It was a very well received event, but we're gonna have a lot more this weekend. So come on out, be a part of it, get you some scores shot, and get you an onion burger.
Sounds good, Neil. We appreciate it. And everybody, Neil will see you this weekend.
Y'all be good.
Bye.